Hey guys, giving away a Switch on the channel again this month with a free game. Just like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you get a notification when the videos go live, because every comment that you leave on every individual video will enter you into the competition for the giveaway. Remember, one comment per video, but you get an entry per video that you put a comment on. Claytano also giving away a PS4. So the kind of strategy that I want to talk about today is something that I've been thinking up in my head based on this particular set of patch notes. I'm talking about the fact that after round 5, pieces that you don't purchase do not come back into your roll pool, and at levels 5 and 6 you have an increased chance to find 1 and 2 cost units over anything else. So what that means is after you get past round 5, every time you roll, if you pass up on a unit, it will not come back to haunt you. So you will never see that unit again until the next round and you start rolling once more. And then at level 5 and 6, so you have a increased chance to find 1 and 2 cost units. So the way that I think about this is that it's a really good way to find 3-star pieces of 1 and 2 cost units, and those got to be like core 3-star pieces. So what I've done here, you may have seen that you noticed that I've jumped ahead in this game. I basically skipped the point where I was just lose streaking. Well, I wasn't exactly properly lose streaking, I was middling, but my main goal was to get to 50 gold, and I get to 50 gold at round 11, just after the neutral round. As you can see, we're still kind of getting battered because we haven't spent any gold, and we haven't really committed to a build at this point either. The whole build is a bit all over the place. Now, the aim for what I'm doing here is I'd quite like to play Hunters with a God of War frontline. So that would be looking for things like a Gersis Ranger and God of War in my hyper rolling strategy. Now, I don't think this is the best composition to do this strategy with, by the way, guys. I would say the best compositions to do this kind of strategy with are goblins and also things like Glacier Knights and Knights in general. Anything that has strong 1 and 2 cost units, you can do it with Beast Warrior as well. Any kind of warrior composition this works really nicely with as well, because they have a lot of 1 and 2 cost units. So what I'm doing is I'm saving up to above 70 or 80 gold, and then I'm basically rolling down on the same turn as much as I can. What you can see happened here is I found a lot of the 1 and 2 cost pieces that I needed, including 1 and 2 cost pieces of the goblins that I already had in my inventory. So I rolled from 70 downwards and found Gersis Rangers all over the place. I found God of Wars, blah, 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 blah. Because I'm still level 5, I have an increased chance of finding God of Wars and also a Gersis Rangers. And you can see here that I'm doing the same thing, just rolling. And actually, I'm going to save myself a 65 gold and do the same thing. Now, if you do a really successful loss streak or even a really successful win streak without having to spend too much gold on leveling up, you can actually do this as well. But you might even be able to save even further, you know, beyond sort of 80 and 90 gold. So that's basically the strategy. The strategy is you save up a nominal amount over 50 gold, maybe between 20 and 30 gold, and then at levels 5 and levels 6, you basically hyper roll that gold down to 50. You could do it even further than 50. You could go, I would say you could even go ahead down to 40 or 30 if you were really, really looking for or close to finding really important 1 and 2 star pieces, especially if you're playing like Knights, for instance. Is a really good way to successfully find a level 2 Lightblade Knight and a level 2 Hell Knight, as well as finding Frost Knights and also the rest of the Glacier clan. As you can see, I was a little bit unlucky because my Goblin bonus went onto my Gersis Ranger. If it had gone onto any of my tanks, I think I would have beaten the Wolf round here. That's kind of what I was banking on. But actually, I found a good amount of I've actually found a good amount of 1 and 2 cost pieces here. I found 2 2-star Gersis Rangers, and I'm kind of looking at nearly having another 2-star God of War. So I actually had a pretty successful early set of rolls, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop here. I'm level 6. I'd like to try and roll and do the same thing as much as possible before level 7, because once I get to level 7, this strategy kind of goes out the window. So you do need to have a composition that can come and be fairly strong at level it could come and be fairly strong, although I've just leveled up to level 7 here. It looks like I was actually just trying to keep myself in the game, which actually is also perfectly acceptable. Just trying to keep yourself in the game is perfectly acceptable at this stage, because I'm actually obviously quite far behind. So as you can see, I just want to protect my life total. But if you were healthier than this, or if you were maybe going to redo this game, I might have even said to myself, okay, you can wait one more turn, because I'm not going to take 28 damage in one turn. So I probably could have waited one more turn to make this hyper roll strategy work again before leveling up to level 7. But you know, we're pretty close to having a 3-star Agersis Ranger here. I find a load of eggs, which means I've got to start making some moves, which means I'm going to get a 2-star Venomancer on the field, which is really great for armor shred. And I'm going to take my Agersis Rangers off, and we're very close to having a 3-star Agersis Ranger and a 3-star God of War as well. In fact, so close, you know, we're looking at potentially having these guys before round 20, which is actually a really successful hyper roll. If I get 2 3-stars before round 20, I feel like I've had a really successful set of hyper rolls. And that's because we made that play. And you can see here now we literally just need 1 God of War and one God of War and one Agersis Ranger. And you can see actually we are also kind of unable to hit the cap of units right now because we've basically given ourselves a load of 3-stars, but we've given ourselves a 3-star God of War and a 3-star Agersis Ranger, which is actually so powerful that we're going to be able to sit at 24 HP and feel comfortable building our economy back up at this point with some core 3-stars already completed. You know, we took advantage of the time at the point in the game where we had the best chance to find 1 and 2 costs, and we went for some 3-star 1 costs, and we got them before round 20. There was definitely a better way that you can execute on this than I did in this game. I did not loss streak, so one thing that I do want to point out is I did not successfully loss streak this game. My loss streak got broken at round 6, so that meant that my gold income got severely hampered in the early game. If you successfully loss streak with this strategy, you can roll much earlier, and if you can maintain that loss streak towards the wolf round, you'll have way more gold to roll with than I did. So what I'm saying is that it's okay to sort of be in the position that I'm in and feel like you have to roll earlier to protect your HP and not die. Obviously, this strategy is pointless if you die, but it still works very successfully, even though I didn't have a particularly good economy game right now. You know, it's basically the equivalent of open forting, but instead of open forting into hyper leveling, it's open forting into hyper rolling. But only works with compositions that require 3-stars. So things like knights, hunters, it can work for, but realistically, Agersis Ranger. I mean, this is not the best composition to showcase it with, because Agersis Ranger is not overly important at being level 3. Really, your level 3 carry is going to be Dwarf Sniper in the late game. But if I'd put my items on Agersis Ranger, I might have been in a better position, but I didn't. I put them on Dwarf Sniper because I'm an idiot. But things like Hell Knight, for instance, and Lightblade Knight, they're really important in Knight compositions to get to level 3. So this kind of strategy works really well in Knights. In fact, I think I saw a shredded puzzle video about it. I don't know if he employed the same strategy as me. I don't know whether he rolled every round or he waited to build an economy up to like 60 or 70 and then use that patch note that we talked about at the start to get the rolls in your favor. But irrespective of that, essentially it's along the same lines. It's utilizing the higher chance 1 cost and 2 cost findings to get yourself in a good position. Here I'm actually going to do something funky. I'm just going to sell off the werewolf. He's not actually that useful as a 1 cost at this point in the game, and I wanted the Agersis bonus. So putting in Evil Knight is just purely for the Agersis bonus. I don't really care about the extra armor on my God of War 3, because he's God of War 3 at round 24. Very few things are actually going to kill him, whether he has the extra warrior bonus armor or not. I will come back for that warrior bonus, but probably not with a werewolf. It would be something more along the lines of a pirate captain. But yeah, this is essentially the way that this composition attempts to function, or the way this strategy attempts to function. It's just exploiting the fact that you have high percentage chances of 1 and 2 costs at level 5. You can't do this at level 3 and 4 because you're never going to build a good enough economy. If you could build a really good economy at level 4, your chances would be even higher of finding 1 costs, but the best you can do is level 5 in most scenarios. But it's worked out quite well for me because, you know, in this situation, you know, you could have said, oh, but if you just played normally and leveled up, you might have been in the same scenario. But actually, God of War 3 is what's been carrying me out of the depths that I was in from that loss streak. And then Agersis Ranger 3 is always topping the DPS meters for me. So it's obvious that these units that are doing some serious work for me. I'm seeing that this guy's gone for like an assassin dragon composition, which I'm very close to losing against, but we do manage to just to beat him out at the end here. But I kind of like now is going back to normality. Now we're thinking about leveling up to level 8, and once we get to level 8, we're looking for those core units, like for instance Pirate Captain. We're looking for Soul Reaper. We want a 2-star my Siren. We want a 3-star my Dwarf Sniper. That would be my priority going forward in this game. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to skip forward to show you where I ended up, because again, now it's just kind of we've kind of gone past the point in the game where the strategy is useful, because now we're just back to normal strategy, which is like rolling down. And I kind of got a little bit baited here because I got 2 eggs. Before I move on, I just want to let you know that I got hella baited because I got 2 eggs. So I was like, just better roll to make use of those eggs. But realistically, I think I should have saved my economy at that point and just sort of taken what was coming, because I wasn't getting beaten by anybody. So there was no need to roll for 2-star Agursis Ranger and 2-star Soul Reaper there. But let's move forward to the end of the game so you can see where I ended up in this game. And we can talk about the strategy as a whole towards the end. So as you can see, I ended up in top 2. The guy that was playing Assassins was the guy in the first place position. And I have ended up positioning specifically for this guy because he's got loads of 3-stars. He's even got a 3-star Thunder Spirit, so he's kind of running a Spirit Assassin composition, which doesn't really work because we don't have the 4 Spirits anymore. But Spirits in general beat Hunters really well. So even when I positioned specifically for this guy, his 3-star Abyssal Crawler does kind of clean up. And my God of War can only do so much. I'm at 1 HP, and I'm kind of trying to mount a comeback at this point. The ultimate outcome for me here is finding a 3-star Dwarf Sniper. That would give me a massive bonus, and probably would help me seal the game versus this guy. So I'm really just looking for a 3-star Dwarf Sniper. Now I find the 2-star Doom, that definitely helps a little bit. Now what I'm doing here, and positioning wise, what I'm attempting to do is landlock my God of War and my Pirate Captain. Why do I want to landlock my God of War and my Pirate Captain, and why have I moved my Agursis Ranger and my Dwarf Sniper? Well, I want my Pirate Captain and my God of War to be the primary focus of the Assassins when they jump to the backline. If I do not landlock them, and by landlock I mean block in, they are going to move and jump out the way and leave spots open for the Assassins to attack my backline. You'll also notice that I've put my Soul Reaper in front of my Agursis Ranger. That's because I want him to be the primary target before Agursis Ranger gets targeted. So I put him kind of just in front of my Agursis Ranger. Now, he actually moved his Assassins back, so I ended up moving my Soul Reaper back. But this positioning in general has been working out really well for me versus this guy. I know that, unfortunately, one wrong move, and I'm going to end up in a situation where, well, not even one wrong move. He's just going to crit me at some point. Like, he's just going to get the crits, and I'm going to end up losing. And he did something very intelligent. This is a good way to counter anti-assassin positioning if you're an assassin player. It's just move your assassins to the front line. And you can see his 2-star Shadowcrawler actually two-shot my Soul Reaper, which my front line just couldn't survive long enough. He actually played that really intelligently, and actually there's not much I could have done. In general, Hunters are not particularly good versus Assassins, and that is what it is. We ended up coming second, but we came second through a hyper-rolling strategy that has kind of got us a really solid level, sort of round 19 to round 35, basically. We had a really good mid-game due to the hyper-rolling because we found a 3-star God of War and a 3-star Agursis Rangers, because the chances of finding them are much higher than if we'd leveled up. Now, there are benefits and drawbacks to this strategy, of course. This strategy does not work for every composition. It does not work for every game. You do need to build a really good economy very quickly, and you kind of need to assess the strength of your lobby. If everybody in your lobby is kind of weak, you might as well level up. But if you're facing a strong lobby, you might need to go for those roles to make sure you get strong units on the field.